What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be going over Hellions number 3 by Zeb Wells and Steven Segovia. And in this video, we are going to learn precisely why Madelyne Pryor wants to come to Krakoa, and more importantly, what she plans to do when she gets there. And we're also about to learn exactly how Psylocke is about to do something with the Hellions that Cyclops did for the X-Men. We're going to talk about all that and more right now. But first, wash your damn hands and let's hit that intro.
Word to wise, grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple eyes. You can't see me, you Stevie, wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
Before we get started, if you want to see more awesome comic book videos like this one, it only takes 2 clicks to become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers. Click. Okay, so let's talk about Madelyne Pryor first. Madelyne Pryor, you know, we know what's going on there. You know that Madelyne Pryor was a clone of Jean Grey that Mr. Sinister used to make Cyclops fall in love with her and have children and babies and all this other stuff, and basically mutant eugenics. And in the end, we know that, Cyclops ultimately got back with Jean Grey, and then later on, other stuff is going on. But the thing is, Madelyne Pryor was forgotten, and that is something she just can't abide by. She's not happy about this. She is upset. It's the thing that actually upsets her more than anything else in the world, is being forgotten, and that's what she feels like. She even says it is very unwise to pretend that I don't exist. It's her least favorite thing. And what she wants to do right now more than anything else is get her beau, her former beau, the Goblin Prince himself, Havoc, back on her side, but she doesn't really want him back for love. You see, she actually has no real actual feelings for Havoc. I mean, yeah, she kisses him, she wants to have sex with him and do all this other stuff, but I mean, there are no emotions there. Make no mistake, because what she wants to do more than anything else is actually just take Havoc, take his head off, and give it to Cyclops as a gift / trophy / reminder of what he threw away, and going back to Jean Grey. And this is something that's really upsetting for Havoc on multiple levels because, of course, nobody really wants to die. And even if he does get killed, I mean, he could be brought back, but still, that won't make the thing that he suffered any less traumatizing. I think that's the thing people forget about all this. Yeah, the mutants can be resurrected over and over and over again. However, the memory of their death can still be there. Now, we know this isn't necessarily the case with Domino. Colossus actually had that part of her memory erased, but we've yet to see what the long-term pros and cons of that really are. Who's to say those memories don't just come back one day? So yeah, this is traumatizing for Havoc. Not only that, she's using magic to keep his mouth shut and to prove just how far Havoc is willing to go to let her know that he doesn't want any part in any of this. He will even take a piece of shattered glass to rip his mouth back open. I mean, this is a very visceral issue for multiple reasons. Others among them being that the original recipe Marauders, who are now Marvel zombies at this particular point, they are trying to crack open Orphan Maker and Nanny, and they've basically been given explicit instructions that they can eat whatever they can open. And of course, we know they are encased in armor, and Nanny is basically an egg, but we don't really know what's inside Orphan Maker. We've never seen Orphan Maker really outside of his armor, and we get a moment in here where I find really interesting. We don't necessarily see exactly what's in there, and Nanny is actually about to tell us, but the original recipe Marauders start beating the crap out of her before she could actually finish her story. But something about his body, it's not normal, because when they crack it open, this caustic liquid comes out. It's basically acid. We don't know if this is actually his true form, or is this just what he's encased in? I don't know. I mean, I'm willing to go on a limb and say his body is literally just some kind of liquid form, and the Orphan Maker suit is just how he keeps it all together. But I mean, it's hard to say at this point because these Marvel zombies are so feisty that they are already trying to eat him before he can even actually tell us what he is or show us what he is in order for Nanny to even explain it. But going back to it, there's a lot there. I mean, Madelyne has a lot of things that have been done towards her, she wants answered. Like in the case of, Grey Crow, formerly known as Scalp Hunter, she wants him to suffer for what he did to her, stealing her baby way back. She wants the mutants on Krakoa to suffer because they didn't invite her to the island, that she has been alive for quite some time. She's been around for the last few years. She's not been dead. No one has extended her an invitation when Charles was extending all of his invitations to Apocalypse, to Implate, to Mr. Sinister, to Mastermind, to Lady Mastermind, to Selene, to characters that have done great and terrible crimes, to the X-Men themselves. But the one they didn't invite was Madelyne Pryor. And for that, what she wants to do is Madelyne is going to birth every last single clone in Mr. Sinister's old cloning farm back at the Essex State Home for Foundlings. She is going to bring all of them to life, and she is going to let them run roughshod upon the gates of Krakoa. She is literally coming to Krakoa, and she is coming to sow more than wild oats. She is going to march upon Krakoa, and she says so herself. The mutants that are the luckiest are going to be the ones who drown in the blood of the others who die. She's not coming there to make nice or play nice with anybody. She wants everyone to be murdered, to be killed, tortured, executed. Whatever you think, that's probably what she wants. And it just goes to show that the psyche of Madelyne Pryor is just that broken. She has been through a lot when you really think about it. I mean, yeah, she was given life. She was led to believe that she was, in fact, as she even says, a real girl. She was led to believe all these different things about herself. And then suddenly she finds love. She finds a man who wants to be with her, but little does she really know at that immediate moment, Cyclops only really loves her because he looks like someone that he used to be in love with. And then eventually she learns that too, and everything else kind of falls out of it. And then eventually Jean Grey comes back and Madelyne gets kicked to the curb. And then she finds out that she's a clone of the very woman who essentially stole her man. And then everything else that kind of went along with that. So, I mean, you can't really blame Madelyne Pryor for being a little bit crazy. And I'm not saying that this excuses any of her behavior. Her behavior is reprehensible to say the least. But much like in the words of Chris Rock, when referring to, O.J. Simpson and, his murdering of his wife and her lover, I'm not saying that she should have done it, but I understand. Now, the other thing I find really interesting in this book is that Psylocke, we saw in the last issue, she was pretty much one of the last Hellions still in the fight against, the original Recipe Marauders and the Goblin Queen. But she got taken down by Wildchild, whose predator instinct started kicking in. And I know some people probably thought, oh my God, what's gonna happen to Psylocke? She's probably gonna get clapped. No, that's not what's happening here. Y'all gotta remember, this isn't Betsy. This isn't Betsy Braddock, who was originally just a waif, just the most milquetoast, white bread, most plain Jane character in the history of the X-Men, who only became a badass once she became Japanese. So no, this is the original Recipe Quanon Revanche. That is who this is. So you got to remember to put some respect on her name and realize she ain't going down without a fight. And one of the things I love about this is that she knows exactly how to deal with Wildchild. She's read the file. She knows who he is. She knows exactly how to deal with his type. And she knows that he is only going to respond to someone who is an alpha. And if he sees an alpha wounded, he thinks he has an opportunity to step up to the plate and take over. And that's not going to be the case. She uses her psychic knife that she inherited from Betsy Braddock, and she stabs him right through the brain pan with it, from the jaw up. Now, unfortunately, the effect of this knocking him out left him with only his predator instincts. So the man side of Wildchild is knocked out cold, but the beast inside Wildchild is wide the f awake. But that doesn't really matter either, because you gotta remember, Quanon is a hand-trained assassin. It's gonna take a lot more than Wildchild to take her down, even if he is in predator mode. And Quanon says, fine, you know what? I tried to do this the new way. I'm trying to be the new me who evolved during the Fallen Angels miniseries. She's saying, no, we can go back. I can go back to the old me. We can go back to them streets. And she just simply snaps Wildchild's neck and leaves it at that. But you gotta remember, Wildchild ain't dead. He has a healing factor. He's no different than Wolverine or Sabretooth or Dakin or whatever his name is. And she simply sits there and waits for him to wake the back up. And of course, now that he is healed, the man side of Wildchild is back. And of course, like he says, knowing who's in charge helps keep him calm. And now that he knows deep down that Psylocke is the one true alpha, he is willing to follow her into the gates of hell. Now, one thing I really like about this particular story too, in regards to Psylocke, is the fact that, yeah, we get a little letter, which I want to say may be from Nightcrawler. We know it's not from Xavier. We know it's not from Cyclops because they are both mentioned by name in this letter, but we're going to go to limb and say it was probably Nightcrawler, considering the fact he has the opening quote at the beginning of the book, basically saying, I do wonder what binds us more, Xavier's ideals or the trauma of being a mutant, the dream or the pain. And this is even more explored in regards to Psylocke, talking about the fact that, yeah, Mr. Sinister is, for all intents and purposes, the leader of that team. Regardless of what people may think, you know, on the outside looking in, yeah, Psylocke runs the team as its field leader. Yeah, Sinister is calling the shots. He's manipulating everything. He is the puppeteer. They are the puppets. But as Nightcrawler points out, Psylocke is once again a hand-trained assassin. She knows what it's like to be a puppet, and she knows just as well as anybody else that a puppet can get entangled in strings, but so too can the puppeteer. And Psylocke likely would not subject herself to something if she couldn't get something out of it. She knows, especially after Fallen Angel, she knows how manipulative Sinister can be. She's interacted with him in the past. She knows what Sinister is all about, and she knows even more so now. So yeah, she wouldn't do this if she didn't think she could get something out of it that she wants. And I'm pretty sure that some of what came from Fallen Angels will factor into this. I wouldn't be surprised if it is her daughter that she wants back. Who knows? But the thing I find very interesting here, what Nightcrawler points out, is that yes, Sinister, he leads the team. The Hellions will likely, obey his commands. But once they get a few missions in them, what's going to happen later down the stretch? Who will they truly follow? Are they going to follow Mr. Sinister, the guy who doesn't even really seem to have a plan, the guy whose machinations are so wild and mercurial that he could just as easily be sending them to their death as he is to sending them to some great reward? Or are they going to follow the one who has bled for them, who has been in the trenches with them, who has literally put their bodies on the line for the good of the team? Now, even with a group of stone cold killers and hardened villains, that is not something you just easily overlook. Even the bad guys can recognize when someone is a true leader. And that's why Nightcrawler is likening Psylocke to Cyclops, because that's why people gravitated towards Cyclops. Like, I actually saw a meme today and it actually kind of pissed me off. It actually triggered me a little bit, where it was basically kind of minimizing Cyclops as a leader, basically saying, oh, he's a character nobody likes. But that's one of those things I can always tell when people say stuff like that, especially when they use those little memes using the X-Men animated series. That's how I can look at that and tell that's a person that's never actually read the comics. Yeah, the animated series did Cyclops no favors. They actually made him look like a chump more often than not. But here's the thing, you have to respect a guy. Even if you don't like him, you have to respect a man who's willing to go out there, put himself on the field of battle alongside his teammates and make the shots, call the shots that no one else is willing to make. Wolverine isn't even willing to make a lot of the calls that Cyclops has had to, and even Wolverine respects him for it. Yeah, you may not like Cyclops because, he doesn't have the same attitude that Wolverine has, but that's the point. You can't have a team full of Han Solos. You have to have a guy or a woman or somebody who's there to actually make the difficult calls. And that's what Cyclops is willing to do. And whether people hate him for it or love him for it, he's going to make the call that's going to be for the good of the team in the long run. Xavier's not going to go out there and fight the good fight. In the history of the X-Men comics, comparatively speaking to Cyclops, he rarely ever has left the house. Yeah, sure, when he got his legs working again at various points, he would get out on the field with everybody else, and that's all well and good. But the thing is, Cyclops was always that dude. And that's what they're talking about here with Psylocke. Is Sinister gonna leave Bar Sinister? Is he gonna leave Krakoa to come and run fades with the Hellions? Likely, rarely if ever, but Psylocke is gonna be the one that's gonna do it, and the team is gonna start listening to her over him, and you can mark my words, it's gonna happen. But anyways, I just really want to talk about that because I just really love this issue. Here's the thing, man, look, everybody's got their own favorites, and I totally get that. That's totally all well and good. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if you are not reading this title, you are doing yourself a disservice. This is storytelling. I always hear people say, oh man, I just wish they would just tell a good story. Man, just tell a good story. This is a good story. And this is a story that's being told expertly well. Pathos of these different characters, this is unlike any other Dawn of X title. Like honestly, this is a breath of fresh air because I feel like I can read this book and not have to worry about some grand overarching narrative. I can focus on the character development and grow with these characters and ride with these characters and get to know them in ways I didn't know them before. And in other ways, I can think back on how these characters were in the past and how much they've grown since then, and in some ways they haven't. But anyways, you let me know what you thought about Hellions #3 by Zeb Wells and Steven Segovia. Wash your damn hands and sound off in the comments.
So hey, you made it to the end of the video. Awesome for you. If you enjoyed this video, and if you made it this far, I don't see how you didn't, do me a favor. Hulk smash that like button. And if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you click subscribe so you can become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers, and tap that bell so you know when I post up. Also, feel free to go check out my Patreon, where if you chuck in a buck, you can get early access to most of my videos up to a week early. And if you have time, make sure you swing by nerd901.com, where you can find more of my content as well as other amazing stuff. Anyways, until next time, I love you 3000 plus ultra!